that interview because we're joined by Representative Jim Costa, Democratic Congressman from Florida, member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Thanks very much for being with us, Congressman Costa. You've said very publicly that you're frustrated that the President didn't consult Congress. He said these sorts of operations have to be kept to a limited number of people to avoid the possibility, in the President's words, of congressional leaks.
Well, I am mindful of the fact that security to protect America's military forces is got to be our first priority. But under our system of checks and balances, the leadership is supposed to be briefed before any court sort of military action of this nature takes place, with the House and the Senate leadership on a bipartisan basis being briefed as a prerequisite, and that has been precedented. Look, there's no dispute that Nicolas Maduro is a dictator. He's illegally and illegitimately clung to power in an election that he lost. And he, in the meantime, has inflicted severe hardship to the Venezuelan people, period. However, I think that America, with regards to our allies and to our adversaries, needs to ensure that the world knows that unilateral military action risks undermining our standing in not only the region of the Western Hemisphere, but our allies in Europe.
I wonder what
straining relationships with key allies that also have the impact of escalating instability in other parts of the world.
I wonder what you make of President Trump's response when he was asked whether he would support the Nobel Peace Prize winner, the leader of the principal opposition party in Venezuela, Maria Corina Machado. He said this. Or I hope we were going to hear. Effectively, he said she doesn't have the respect, and it would be very tough for her to take power. I mean, in a sense, one gets the impression that President Trump is kind of trying to determine the succession.
Well, there's that challenge to begin with, and certainly the Nobel Peace Prize winner from Venezuela has, I suspect, a lot more credibility than American forces having. You know, I think that the president would be wise not only to brief, and I'm, along with many of my colleagues, asking the administration when we go back this coming week to provide the proper briefings to all members of Congress, including the leadership, and I suspect that will happen. Right. But Colin Powell made a very, I think, focused observation going back to Iraq when America takes action, and we're pretty good at breaking things up, but putting things back together with all the multiple factions that exist in Venezuela today is not an easy job, and it's certainly not one that the military, the most powerful military in the world that America has, is necessarily well equipped to do. And for the president to say this morning that we're going to run the country, has he prepared not only our American military, but our foreign policy experts in the State Department and the American people for what kind of a commitment may be required to run the country? Congress. I mean, what's that mean? What's that mean?
That's a very good question, and one I guess we will hope to get answers on in the coming days. Congressman Jim Costa, Democratic member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, thanks very much for joining us.